Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rocknet here again with more writing pins I found around and about. So, first one. This isn't really a serious thing, let me just read this to you. How to Write Good by Frank L. Visco. My several years in the word game have taught me several rules. Avoid alliteration, always. Propositions are not words to end sentences with. Avoid cliches like the plague, they're old hat. Employ the vernacular. Eschew empressments and abbreviations, etc. Parenthetical remarks, however relevant, are unnecessary. It is wrong to ever split an infinitive. Contractions aren't necessary. Foreign words and phrases are not apropos. Apropos? One should never generalize. Eliminate quotations. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, I hate quotations. Tell me what you know. Comparisons are as bad as cliches. Don't be redundant. Don't use more words than necessary. It's highly superfluous. Profanity sucks. Be more or less specific. Understatement is always best. Exaggeration is a billion times worse than understatement. One-word sentences, eliminate. Analogies in writing are like feathers on a snake. Passive voice is to be avoided. Go around the barn at high noon to avoid colloquialisms. Even if a mixed metaphor sings, it should be derailed. Who needs rhetorical questions? I mean, if by the last question you don't get that this is supposed to be a joke, I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, this is just a funny thing I found. Yeah, there's nothing serious I can say here. Just basically do the reverse of everything that's said here. This is basically a parody of writing manuals of, so-called writing rules, basically. That's what this is. And I love it for that, because every time I read it, it always kind of gives me more confidence in my writing, because I do a lot of the things they talk about here. I'm not even gonna try to say that name. Morally gray, a character who does too much bad to be a good person, but does too much good to be a bad person. Say that 5 times faster. Sympathetic villain, a character who is a bad person but whose backstory / character arcs makes you feel sorry for or sympathetic towards them. Anti-hero, a character who does bad things to achieve a good goal. Anti-villain, a character who does bad things to achieve a goal but they believe to be good, but is actually messed up. Just plain annoying, a character who does bad things to achieve a bad goal but has one throwaway line about a hard childhood that is expected to put them to one of the aforementioned categories when reality it just makes them annoying. Sweetest honeybee. It's all clear now. It's definitely an issue, especially in modern day storytelling, where it's almost kind of an expectation that your villain should, apparently should be at least in one of these categories, at least sympathetic or an anti-hero or an anti-villain. Like, they have to at least be in one of these categories, or, so modern day writing says. But when it's done by a bad writer, you get the last category of just plain annoying. I've definitely seen this a few times. There's definitely been a few times where there's been a villain, or even a protagonist. One of the protagonists is just a douchebag, but because of one throwaway line, supposed to justify it somehow. It's just, it always hurts my head. Especially when the author really tries hard to make you feel bad for a character who is just plain horrible, who has almost no redeeming qualities. It's not necessarily a bad thing to make the reader sympathetic to a character who almost has no redeeming qualities, but you have to do it with some form of self-awareness. Like, you have to be aware enough to understand that you're going to have to work really hard at it to make us actually care about this character, instead of just flat out hating them. And also, just try to understand this also. This is something I feel like people kind of forget. If your reader hates the villain, like really viscerally hates the villain, that they want so much so that they want the protagonist to just beat them up. You've already done your job. You've already created a compelling villain. You don't need to slap on a just a half-baked backstory to try to justify everything they're doing. You've already done a good enough job. You don't need to ruin it.